Yeah.
Good rolling bean pie, best on earth. Baked freshly daily, rolling bean pie. Get yours today. Call us at area code 216-355-9702. We will deliver to you. Call us, get yours now. Bean pie. It's good. Yeah, I love it.
Jumped off the porch at 13 years old, heart full of ambition with a pocket full of stone. 10 years later and I'm still on the hustle. Trap hotter than the pot like when the cocaine bubbles. Critics say I give you straight like hard liquor. Nike boots to your back door. That's how we living. Black hoodies on our heads, we bought them from Walmart. 10 deep in one beef, my nigga, we all spark.
Alright, right now, like I said at the onset of the show, I got a couple guys right here that have endeared themselves to the community. They have embraced the challenges in the community. They have stood up like men. And we got a lot to learn from these guys. Right now, from the Amer-I-Can and Cleveland Peacemakers Alliance, Mr. James Box and Rob Woodard. Thanks, James. I appreciate you being here. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate you, man. Now, what people may not know, these guys just left the trenches. They just left for carjacking and shooting. It goes down, man. No playing around. Am I right, James?
You're right. We just left a homicide over on Sandusky. Brother tried to jack somebody in an Escalade, and I guess the tables got turned, and he ended up getting shot in the head and the shoulder. Man, now that's crazy. You know, but these guys deal with this on a daily basis. It's not like they read the funnies or the papers and then, they laugh about it and then they go home and chill like everybody else. They're on the front lines. They're getting to the bottom of it. They're trying to investigate what's causing these things to happen and eradicate that and change some of these people's lives. Damu too? Yeah. Now, what people may not know about Mr. Bach, because first of all, just think about it. If you're going to be dealing with the public and trying to raise boys into men and teach them how to stand up, you had to go through trials and tribulations in your own life to understand it. Am I right, James? Is that how they go? Correct. So with your own experiences, because you used to, back in the days, a long time ago, you used to run wild, you used to run hard in the streets. Why was that? And give us a little background. Well, let me give a little background on me. I grew up in a single-parent home. My mom was a heroin addict for 42 years of my life, so as a result of me coming up in a home with not the proper structure, I made a lot of bad choices, followed the wrong crowd, and ended up taking 9.5 years of my life away from me that I could never get back. Right. Making wrong choices, robbing, kicking in doors, pistol whooping, and shooting people. Right. So as a young man, I was hell-bent. Right. A lot of anger and frustration pent up in you. A lot of anger that was based on rejection and neglect, which produced a spirit of hopelessness and despair within me, and to the point where I didn't care about nothing. Wow, I mean, a lot of you that's watching this are dealing with that. That's a challenge in your life right now. So when you got incarcerated, were you introduced to theologies and things of that nature? Because usually that happens sometime when we, get incarcerated. Sometimes individuals come to us and say, hey, man, this is the light. Whether it's true or not, we get approached. It's kind of funny to me. Because when I went to the joint, I started from juvenile to adult. I was introduced to Catholicism, Protestant, Baptist. I was introduced to all that. My family were L's, Moors, and Bays. You did what I'm saying, the Muslims. So I came up under that type of teaching. Right. But in 1982, I had a divine inspiration where I was introduced to Jesus Christ, for lack of a better word, so people could identify with it. In the Playa Hebrew, his name is called Yahushua. Right. You know what I'm saying? So my relationship with him is what sustained me after I got out of prison, and that's the relationship.
Always knew I had to make it out this motherfucker. I had to get it every day about this motherfucker. Sometimes I feel I'm on my way about this motherfucker, but I just hold my head and pray about this motherfucker. I always knew I had to make it out this motherfucker. I had to get it every day about this motherfucker. Sometimes I feel I'm on my way about this motherfucker, but I just hold my head and pray about this motherfucker. This motherfucker.
So, okay, so let me get this straight. So you had an epiphany, you had gotten an inspiration, you know, through your spirituality and an awakening. And when you got out, that feeling of being awakened and hungry for spirituality, did that make you want to spread that with the youth that you saw were going down some of the same roads that you had been down?
Let me back up for a minute. First of all, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired of what I was going through. So I was studying the Bible, I was going to church, and in the penitentiary, the only difference between the penitentiary and the streets is you got women and moving vehicles out here. You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
It's commerce in there, it's drugs, it's hooch, it's whatever you want. You dig what I'm saying? With the exception of guns. You know, when there we call pistols gloves, because when the doors swing, you swing. You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
So I made up in my mind to search this Bible and find truth for myself. And what I found was for me. And when I grabbed hold to it, it was what I needed, and it sustained me. And guys in the joint all box, you're using that Bible as a crutch. And I said, you know what? To a crippled man, a crutch help him get everywhere he want to go. You dig what I'm saying? Until he's strong enough to stand on his own. Right. So since it's been written on the tables of my heart, I don't have to carry it because it's inside of me now. And everything that I speak, everything that I do is a semblance of what I've learned and what has been placed upon my heart based on my relationship with Yahushua.
Right. So now, you know, first of all, you weren't open to any of those things at first when you first went in. You had all this pent-up aggression, anger, and everything.
No, I thought Christians was homosexuals and faggots.
So how did you begin to soften and not soften as a man, but soften your stance and open up and want to, you know, go into your spirituality?
Because I saw a lot of brothers in the joint that was going through the same thing that I had been through, listening to the different stories. Nobody had an answer. I could have been a Muslim. I could have been a black nationalist. I could have joined this gang, that gang. Everybody was looking for answers through different vehicles. I was determined to be my own individual and represent myself.
Right.
And I represent myself through my faith.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? I'm not following no man. I follow a power that's powerful.
Now, let's fast forward it. You're released. You say you hit the streets running. So
Absolutely.
What some of the things did you do?
Well, what happened when a brother by the name of Pastor Tony Crosby came into the penitentiary, he called me the Black Moses. I was the president of a Bible study group at Grafton called Cons for Christ. And basically, when new brothers came into the joint from Grafton, from the old prison into Grafton, I would introduce them to Jesus Christ and say, look, you can roll with us, or the devil got them brothers over there in the new dorm. Just like the tough guys of the joint, they're going to rape you. They're going to break in your lockbox. They're going to extort you and make your parents send tennis shoes and money. Right. You can roll with us. You can roll with them. So for the first couple of weeks, they rolled with us. And then I guess we was a little too slow for them, so they wanted to roll with them cats. So as a result of that, what happened was they started getting robbed and, you know, went up in. They was coming to me asking for protection.
Right.
You did what I'm saying? And then we would go and address the brothers in the new day room and say, hey, look, you can't mess with him. If he going to be over here, y'all got to leave him alone. And they respected me enough to leave him alone.
Right.
You did what I'm saying? So when I got out the joint, Pastor Tony Crosby took me around the prisons with him around the country. I shared my story in projects, prisons, colleges, universities, all around the country.
Let me ask you something. What happened when you ran?
I gotta switch the road in my brain, man. But before I smoke, I gotta thank the man. Thank God for the day. In God we trust, in God we pray. Stay strapped, 365, 211, homicide, late nights, street lights, that soft cream and that hard white.
When you ran into the sort of guy that doesn't want to hear nothing about a Jesus Christ or Allah or a Buddhist monk, they don't want to hear nothing about that. How were you able to reach them?
Let me tell you something, and that's a good question. Faith, let me put it like this. The Holy Spirit is the agent of change. All I'm required to do is be an agent of information. I'm going to share the information, then it's up to God to do the rest. I don't worry about it. I plant the seed, he watered it, and he produced the increase. Right. I do my job, and I keep it moving, KIM.
Right. Now, besides a religious factor, what do you think made them relate to your story and want to look inside themselves to make a change?
Because a lot of brothers knew me. They knew how I was, you know what I'm saying? And they said, if this cat can do this, because when I got out the joint and came right back to the prison, less than 90 days of being in release, I was back in there preaching. And they was like, what? He back out. He really was serious. They thought it was a game.
Right.
I came back in there picking up the bed saying church time. The guards let me go back in the walls and pull them out the way that I did when I was in there. So everybody was excited. They couldn't wait to get out and see me to find out what I was doing to be successful to stay out of prison.
Yeah. My name Man. Man, nigga.
Say that.
Straight like that. Straight up. Say that. Jumped off the porch at 13 years old. Heart full of ambition with a pocket full of stone. 10 years later and I'm still on the hustle. Trap hotter than the pot like when the cocaine bubbles. Critics say I get it straight like hard liquor. Nike boots to your back door. That's how we livin'. Black hoodies on our heads. We bought them from Walmart. 10 deep in one beef. My nigga, we all smart. Always knew I had to make it out this motherfucker. I had to get it every day about this motherfucker. Sometimes I feel I'm on my way about this motherfucker. But I just hold my head and pray about this motherfucker. I always knew I had to make it out this motherfucker. I had to get it every day about this motherfucker. Sometimes I feel I'm on my way about this motherfucker. But I just hold my head and pray about this motherfucker. This motherfucker. Switch and roll in my break band, but before I smoke, I gotta thank the man. Thank God for the day. In God we trust, in God we pray. Stay strapped, 365, 211, homicide, late nights, street lights, that soft cream to that hard white. Live free, die young. If you got niggas, then ride for them. Put your pistol in the sky for them. Bust 21 shots for them. Let them motherfucking hollows fly. Let them motherfucking haters die. Point them bitches to the nearest bridge. Let them fuck niggas kill themselves. Nigga, I'ma fucking ride till the motherfucking day I die. Real shit, young man, gon' get it. Propane, I set fire to me. Tell them niggas I am the truth. Word to God, word to me. On my knees, 10 deep. To make it out this motherfucker. I had to get it every day about this motherfucker. Sometimes I feel I'm on my way about this motherfucker. But I just hold my head and pray about this motherfucker. Always knew I had to make it out this motherfucker.
Yeah, TNC. TNC conglomerate.
CCG TNC, my name, man.
Going down, Playa T, that's me. I want to thank everybody for coming out.
Are you going out tonight or this weekend? If so, you looking good. So now, why don't you get the smell good? Get your body oil only at the Playa T Oil Shop. Stop in or call us. 216-355-9702. Get yours today. Oil Shop. Smell good.
So good, so good.